Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I figured I would do some sort of like 2-month update. I don't remember doing these with Avery, but even if I did, I'm already late because, well, I guess you could say early. I could do a 1-month update, but technically he's only 6 weeks old today, or I could do a 2-month update, or we could just call it a 6-week update. So either way, I'm gonna give you a little bit of an update on Mr. Beckett here. So I've done like several vlogs and things, but I really haven't sat down and talked about like what's been going on with him, how he's been doing. He's definitely had to be more go with the flow because I don't have the, I don't know, it's not time. Of course I have the time, but I don't have the like attention that I could give to Avery with just Avery in the house and working from home, and it's just very different. But he's doing pretty great. That was the weirdest sounding bird. So I'm sitting in his nursery right now. We're actually not in here too often. He is in our room still, and he hasn't even started taking naps in here yet. Avery was very different. I'm gonna try and spend this video not comparing him to Avery, but I just feel like it's something that I do. I did the same thing with his birth. I did the same thing with the pregnancies, but anyway. So he is still very much in our room, very much attached. Like, he is what people call a Velcro baby. If he's not like sitting with you, laying on your chest, you're not wearing him, he's not as comfortable or as happy as we want him to be. And I think that has to do with a lot of different things, but I'll get into that in just a second. I want to talk a little bit about his birth, because if you didn't see the birth vlog, first of all, check it out. It was super exciting. He was a surprise gender. We had no idea what he was, although I kind of secretly knew. Well, not secretly. I told everybody, I think it's a boy, I think it's a boy, I think it's a boy. And I had a 50% chance of being right. I think Robbie and I both believed it was a boy, and then lo and behold, there he was. I want to talk about that moment for a second because it was the most exciting, most incredible moment. It was so wonderful. So many people told me when we were pregnant with him, they would say, oh, do you know if it's a boy or a girl? What are you having? And I would say, oh, we're not finding out until the baby is born. And I heard so many times, that's so wonderful. Nothing is a surprise anymore in life. And it's true. That you plan the day you're going to get married. Most of the time, in our case, we planned getting pregnant. Then the due date. And yeah, the baby may not come on the due date, but around the time that they're going to come, we can find out exactly what they are early. So it was just something that was really surprising. I look back and I'm like, how did we do that for like 9 months, where we found out we were having a baby but then just didn't find out what we were having? And that, coupled with the fact that nobody slipped up and told us, like he or she. I had one sonographer that I thought slipped up and told me it was a girl, but obviously she didn't. And I think about, like, I had to go to so many maternal fetal medicine appointments because I had gestational diabetes, and never one, I must have gone to that office no less than 10 to 12 times, and nobody ever, they were really good about keeping it a secret and telling me to turn my face whenever we would do ultrasounds. And anyway, so he is a boy. But that moment was so exciting, and you see it in the birth, well, you hear it in the birth vlog. I couldn't actually like show and do a video of the actual delivery process because it's against the policy of our hospital and of our doctor, but I could get the audio of it, and it was so amazing. That's his little hand. He always has his hand like this. And I don't remember him being like that in ultrasound pictures, but oddly enough, I also sleep with my hands kind of. Anyway, but his hand is always like that, and I always try and move it, and he always moves it back. Anyway, so as my doctor came in, first of all, I thought he was gonna fall out. There was so much pressure down there. The induction, the whole process just went so fast. It was wonderful. But I just knew that he was about to fall out of me. And she kept saying, I don't see a head yet, so like, you're good, you're fine. He's not gonna come out just yet, or the baby's not gonna come out just yet. But I asked her, I said, is this your favorite part of your job? As she was kind of like putting her booties on and putting on like, the scrub, not the scrubs, but the stuff, the attire that they put on over it. And she was like, yes, I delivered your first, and now I'm going to deliver your second. We're going to find out what the baby is together. And it's just amazing to see the families that I work with, to see their family grow. I'm like, that's really beautiful. So I start pushing, and he basically delivered himself, because I went through a contraction, I pushed, and then she told me, go ahead and take a break, and at your next contraction we'll push again. But my body was basically pushing. He was coming out no matter what. So he comes out, and immediately I'm like looking for parts. He had the cord wrapped around his neck, and so she's trying to get that undone, and you know, they don't just like slide out gracefully, they kind of flop sometimes. So I'm trying to look, and Robbie's trying to look, and it seemed like minutes had gone by, but really it was probably like 2 to 3 seconds. And my doctor says, just about the time that I saw the parts, it's a boy. And it was just, it could make me cry right now. Like, it was just so wonderful. So like, it's just so exciting. And I didn't look up, but I wish that I had looked up to see what Robbie's face was like when she said it's a boy, because I know that if we'd had a girl, we would have loved that baby just as much as we love him. But he really wanted a little boy. As much as he would say like, oh, I just want a healthy baby. Everybody says that. He really wanted a little boy, a little hunting buddy. And anyway, so if we have any more, and truthfully, when we have more, we're not done. We're not going to find out anymore. We've decided we're not going to like find out the gender of our babies. It's just too exciting to not do a surprise gender. Anyway, so he came out. It took him a while to cry, but that's because the cord was wrapped around his neck. He was 19 3/4 inches long and 7 pounds even. He was born with, as you can see, he's lost some of it. So he was born with a ton of hair, and I had the heartburn to prove it. I just have babies with hair, I guess. I have hairy babies, because Avery had a ton of hair too. But he came out with a ton of hair. He has beautiful blue eyes. His eyes, again, I said I wasn't going to compare to Avery, but Avery's eyes came out extremely dark blue, but extremely dark, and they still are pretty dark. His eyes came out blue, but lighter, and as he's even gotten, 6 weeks old, they've gotten even lighter. And when he has them open, they're just beautiful. They're beautiful baby blues. I love them so much. Like I said, this is kind of his favorite place to be, but I think that's every baby's favorite place to be, is in your arms. He really would probably be more content, even though he's pretty darn content right now, tummy to tummy with me. That is his favorite place to be, is tummy to tummy asleep. And that's just what he loves. So he is nursing really well. He actually caught on like really quickly in the hospital, which I was really thankful for, because I wanted to try and breastfeed this baby with this pregnancy. So I was really pleased when he latched on really quickly. He latched really well. He wasn't having a problem like transferring milk, as they say. He was doing a pretty good job. Still does a pretty good job. He likes to eat. We eat usually closer to the 2-hour mark, more often than we eat closer to the 3-hour mark, which is good, because it took him a while to gain all of the weight that he lost. For his first pediatrician appointment, he had lost 15 ounces, and that was technically like 11% of his birth weight or something, and she wasn't worried. But for me, because I had Avery before, and Avery never lost that much, and Avery was also formula fed, I was kind of worried. I was actually really worried. I was like, oh my gosh, is this normal? And she did say that it's a little more than normal, but he wasn't to the point where she thought we needed to supplement with formula. That's usually when you get to like the 15% mark and at the practice that we see. So we never have had to supplement with formula, but he definitely is, he's a big eater. He likes to eat. So it's taking him a little longer to chunk up. I don't know why that is, but and maybe it's because he gets so comfortable he just conks out whenever he's nursing, but I think that's most babies. So he's finally back up to birth weight, and he's now surpassed it. It took him 3.5 weeks to get back up to 7 pounds. But from what we can tell here at the house, he's over 8 pounds now, and his little face is starting to like fill out, and he's got some chubby cheeks. I'll show you some pictures in just a minute, or show you some footage. I'm too afraid to move him right now, which brings me to the next topic. I think we have a colicky baby, which makes me really sad, because it's really hard to hear him scream, and it's not even like a pitiful cry or like I'm cold, or don't get me wrong, he hates to be cold. He detests being cold. Like, take this off and he's gonna scream. He just hates to be cold. But he is colicky, I think, for whatever reason, and it's different times of the day. So maybe he's not colicky. I really don't know much about colic, but for different times of the day, he is inconsolable for 30 minutes to an hour. It could happen one time a day. It could happen 2 to 3 times a day. Sometimes he's just fussy the whole day, but it's really difficult to get him settled and comfortable. That's why I'm trying not to move him so much. He definitely does not play on the floor on his play mat or do as much tummy time as he should, just because he is super uncomfortable. And you can tell by the way that he cries that he's just in so much pain. Of course we think it's gas. He's been checked out. Like, the only thing that they did find is he does have acid reflux, which Avery had as well. I have acid reflux. Robbie sometimes has issues with it. So it's not something that's uncommon, and he is on a medication for that, and we're actually starting a probiotic today. But he's definitely more uncomfortable than I think most babies are, and it can get really difficult sometimes. It's super hard to hear him cry and be in so much pain, and you can tell it's like a strained, like, scream. It's the worst. I don't like it. Obviously no mom likes to hear their baby cry, but it's also very hard as a parent too for Robbie and I, because it's really loud, it's constant, it's, you know, he's inconsolable, there's no way to get him to calm down. It's just frustrating because as a parent you feel like there's so much that you can do and you've tried it all and nothing's working, and you just kind of feel kind of helpless for them. So we're doing the best that we can. Like I said, he is on an acid reflux medication. He's on famotidine, which is what Avery was on when she was younger. And then we are starting a probiotic today to try and help that. I'm trying to eliminate things that may have caused it, because it hasn't been the whole time. For the first 2 weeks of his life, he was still asleep. Like, he did not realize he was in the world. And then he all of a sudden woke up. The next 2 weeks were great. He was still doing really well. He would nurse and go back to sleep. And then it was like right about the 4-week mark, 3 to 4 week mark, he started to get really uncomfortable. And that's when we found the acid reflux. We put him on the medicine. We thought everything was getting much better. He was doing better, especially in the evening times. He was not sleeping when we discovered that he had acid reflux. He's sleeping really well now, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But we thought everything was better, and then all of a sudden it's kind of taken a turn for the worse again. And so I think it could be a couple of things. Number one, he could just be a colicky, gassy baby, and we just do what we can to help with that. But the other thing too is I started taking a supplement. 2 things. I started my ADHD medicine back up, and before you come at me, I actually see a reproductive psychiatrist to make sure that that's okay, and the medicine that I'm taking is okay while breastfeeding. I'm taking a very small dose of it, so it's not like it's anything that's really going to super severely affect him at all. I'm checking in with her very frequently. I have another appointment with, I shouldn't have to explain all this, but I know that there will be some people that have questions about, like, having ADHD, taking a stimulant, and also breastfeeding. Anyway, but I also started taking a supplement called Liquid Gold to help with like my supply. When taking a stimulant, it can cause your supply to decrease. Hold on just a second. Avery is with her aunt and her cousin, and she's texting pictures and videos and things, and so they're having fun. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, I'm taking a supplement to help with my supply, because sometimes when you take a stimulant, it can cause your supply to decrease. And because he already is having a little bit, you know, it's taking him longer to gain his weight, I didn't want my supply to decrease and then him be hungry and then have to supplement and yada, yada, yada. So I started taking a supplement to help me and my milk increase. And I think in turn it's causing gas for him. I looked up some of the reviews, and it says that it can cause gas, and it can be not so great for babies that have reflux or are colicky. So I've stopped that supplement, and we're not going to do that anymore to see if that helps a little bit. Hopefully it does. Anyway, we're going to get through all that. It's going to be just fine. I'm not worried about it. Robbie's not worried. I mean, of course we don't want him to cry. We don't want him to be uncomfortable, be in pain, but we're not freaking out as much as we would be if this was Avery and this was our first child. I'm happy to sit here and hold him and do this as much as I need to, and wear him in a baby carrier. I take him to work with me and I wear him in a baby carrier. It's gonna be okay. Let's talk about sleep. So he actually, I gotta knock on wood because every time I say this, he has a not so great night, but he actually does super well at nighttime. Like amazing. Last night, I set an alarm to wake me up, somehow slept through it or snoozed it or something, which when I finally did wake up, I felt terrible. But he actually slept last night from 10:30 to 6 a.m. this morning. So that's a little over 9:30, excuse me, 9:30 to 6 a.m. this morning, which is like 8.5 hours. And he's 6 weeks old. So I remember from taking a sleep course when we had Avery that they usually sleep, or they should be able to go the same amount of hours as they are weeks old. So he should be about 6 weeks, 6 hours, you know, that should be a stretch right now. But he went 8.5 hours, and I actually woke up and had to wake him up to eat at 6 a.m. So I don't like to do that. I normally do not do that. I set an alarm in the middle of the night to wake him up, to feed him, to make sure he's full, to make sure he's not losing ounces, also to help with, you know, engorgement and things like that. But he usually has to be woken up at the nighttime, which is good. Our typical schedule is about 9:30. I'll feed him for the last time of the night, and then he wakes up, or I wake him up around 3:30ish, and feed him. So we'll see. But I'm not comfortable with him going completely all the way through the night just yet. I know some moms would be like, "You're crazy. Why aren't you letting yourself sleep?" I know, and believe me, I do love the sleep, but I want to make sure that he's not losing ounces. So the next thing is kind of a weird thing to talk about in an update, I guess, but I've had some people in like my personal life ask me what I'm going to do when it comes back to like going back to work. Technically, my first day back at work is Sunday, 2 days from now, but my job allows me to be part-time. I am a part-time employee, and so I only go in on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. And the really nice thing is I can schedule childcare if I need it. Right now he's too young. I'm not gonna let him, you know, I'm not gonna put him in the church nursery when I'm there, because I can easily just keep him with me. But as he gets older, I can schedule nursery, which is awesome, really, really awesome. But right now, I've been doing trial runs. I've been going up to work and just getting a few things done, just so I can make sure that I know the ins and outs. I know the ropes of how to have him with me at work, nursing at work, all that kind of stuff. I just wanted to do a couple trial runs. So what happens is I take my carrier with me, but I also work in an office of, there's 4 ladies in there, and we are all extremely close. And so sometimes I wear him in the carrier, and sometimes one of the other ladies in the office holds him, just because it's like therapy holding a baby. So I bring him in and I take Avery down to the nursery, and then I, you know, have him in his car seat, and when he starts to fuss, I pull him out and put him in the carrier until he's ready to nurse. And once he's ready to nurse, I feed him, and typically at that point, somebody in the office is ready to hold him, so when I'm done feeding him, I can pass him off. If that wasn't the case, it would be okay. He would just go right back in the carrier. And as he gets older, like I said, he'll go down to the nursery, but for right now, that's what works for us. On Tuesdays, we have staff meetings. They can last a long time sometimes, so he will go with me into those staff meetings. If I need to step out and nurse, I can, and then come right back in. So it's been really nice. My job makes things very easy to have a baby and also continue doing just my daily work duties. And I love that. I love that about my job. It's just like Allie. So last year when we had our foster girl, Allie, we got her at birth, or after she was discharged from the NICU. And she would come with me to work, come with me to staff meetings. And then when I worked at the day school and was actually working in a classroom with 2-year-olds, nursery would watch her right next door. But it was a little bit different because obviously I wasn't nursing her. So I'm very thankful to my job and the fact that I can bring him to work and not have to worry about finding childcare just for like 2 days a week. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. What do you really update on for a newborn? I feel like when you do pregnancy updates, it's like, what are you craving and what are your symptoms? When you have a baby, that's not quite the case. And he's not old enough to like have anything really exciting. Like we tried solids. It'll be a couple months before that, but I figure I should do a little update on Avery and how she is as a big sister. She is an amazing big sister. We can definitely tell sometimes when she's starting to feel a little bit jealous or needs a little more attention, but she never, ever, ever takes it out on him. Never. She's always in love with him, kissing on him, hugging on him, wants to hold him all the time, singing to him, reading books to him. Sometimes when I'm nursing, she's reading a book, or I'm reading a book to her, which my grandmother actually told me was a cool trick, and it's been working, so thank you, Grammy. But, you know, that way she doesn't feel like she's being left out. And I've really tried, and Robbie has really tried too, to not say things like, sorry, Avery, I can't play with you right now. I'm holding the baby. Beckett needs this. Beckett needs to be fed. I need to change Beckett's diaper, because that then puts the blame on Beckett, and that's not cool. And so I'll say things like, yes, I would love to play with you, but I need to feed Beckett, so once I'm finished, I will play with you. Or, you know, if I have to change a diaper, hey, do you want to come change your baby doll's diaper? She's gotten really into her baby dolls and doing everything that I do. She has a little carrier that she wears. She pushes the stroller around. She uses Beckett's clothes so he doesn't fit anymore, and she's loving that. Oh, I guess I could talk about that. He is finally out of newborn clothes. I feel like it took him a long time. Avery was in newborn clothes for like 2 weeks. He is finally out of newborn clothes, and we're in 0 to 3 and 3-month clothes. And he still doesn't quite fill them out, but he's definitely long enough for them. So, is there anything else we need to talk about, buddy? Okay, I'm going to try and lift him up so you can see his cute little face and his crazy hair. His hair right now is kind of blending in with my shirt, but he had a bath yesterday, so it sticks straight up. After it's been a few days, he takes a bath like every 3 to 4 days. Unless he's really fussy, then we'll put him in the water, and that helps. But when he's just had a bath, his hair is nuts, and he just had a bath like last night. So, do you want to show him your cute little face? He's really dreaming about something. Oh, goodness. Well, I need to change his diaper anyway. Beckett Allen. Let's change your diaper. Let's change your diaper. Oh, those feet. He loves his feet are always sticking straight up in the air. Sometimes when he's nursing, he's like kicking me in the face. Oh, goodness. Are you going to smile? Well, I'm going to change his diaper and see if I can get him back down to finish this nap. But thank you guys so much for checking in and watching today. We love you all, and God bless ya.
Even if you tried, you wouldn't